Hello all. So today I wanted to talk to you all about using silence in counseling. Silence in counseling is one of those things that when you're first starting out using silence, you are going to be very uncomfortable, but it really is a great technique in counseling because it helps you to reflect, it helps the client to reflect, and it also helps you to be able to get some more information from your client. So that uncomfortableness of silence helps your client to really elaborate more because they are so uncomfortable. For instance, if they give you one or two word answers, sometimes you're gonna have to look at them, and you're gonna have to use that silence, and you're gonna have to use that minimal encourager or that head nod to get them to elaborate more to you. So if you say to your client, well, how have things been going since our last session? And they just say, well, good. Sometimes you're going to have to sit there and use that silence. Mm-hmm. And so when they just see you sitting there looking at them, then that'll help them to say some more things. You know, nobody wants to sit there, just looking at each other in silence. Now, it's going to be uncomfortable for you, but it's also going to be uncomfortable for them. But you're the one who asked them the question. And so that, well, good, you're clearly that's not enough information. And so, it'll help them to speak a little bit more, especially at the beginning of the session, because if you're getting those one or two word answers at the beginning of the session, sometimes, naturally you're going to want to ask more questions to keep the session moving. But don't be in a rush in your session. You don't have to be in a rush. When I was going through my counseling program and we would do mock counseling sessions, I would have, a question at the tip of my tongue, right after, the mock client would say something. But you don't have to be in a rush in your counseling session. If you're meeting for an hour and the whole session is just about you asking them questions, then it's more of an interview rather than a counseling session. And so use that silence. Use those minimal encouragers that I spoke about in last video to help to guide that session. Sometimes you're going to have a client that may say a whole lot too. You may have a client that maybe it's your first session with them and they may have a whole lot to say to you. And so sometimes you may have to sit and reflect. They may go blah, 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 blah. And so you say, okay, well, let me think about that for just a moment. Take a few of those moments and think about kind of where that session needs to be guided. Where do you want to go with the session so that it'll be meaningful? And that silence, again, it may be uncomfortable, but it's very helpful. It's very helpful for you. It's very helpful for the client. And it helps to make that session more meaningful because it doesn't feel rushed when you're using that silence. It doesn't feel like an interview. And again, incorporate those minimal encouragers in there. Use that head nod. Use that. Use those techniques in your counseling sessions so that your client will understand that you're listening to them, and it'll help you to reflect on all that they have told you. It'll help them to be able to open up a little bit more, and I just think it's good. I'm also linking those Insoo Berg sessions down in the description so that you guys can see more of those minimal encouragers that I talked about last session. And I hope you all enjoyed this video. I will be back soon with more videos. Thank you.